Hey there, everyone. Corey here with the PhoenixEnigma.com. I just finished an interview with someone who has something very important to say. For the record, I like to preface this interview with a few statements. First of all, what you're about to hear, I first heard 3 days ago. I took this time to vet this person, to make sure they were a real person with a real history, real past, a real job. I verified their connection with other people whom I know and trust. And this person is real. This is not someone who's just LARPing or trying to make a joke at everyone's expense and throw confusion in the air. This is somebody who really knew Isaac Kappy, had history with Isaac Kappy, and was working on a foundation in conjunction with them. Okay, so what you're about to hear is from a real person. What you're about to hear also counters much of what you think you may know about the Isaac Kappy investigation or event or facts, if you will. God, what are facts anymore? I don't, it's certain things are true because they're on paper, but doesn't necessarily make them a fact. That being said, this video and the statements in this video and this testimony and me putting it out there is not in any way meant to be disrespectful to those who believe Isaac Kappy has passed, to his parents or brothers or family. This is not meant to just shake things up and get ratings, and it's not meant for that. This is somebody who came forward and told me something quite amazing that needs to be out in the public so everyone knows. That's what this is. If this counters anything you believe in your heart of hearts to be true, it is what it is. I know I'm not even going to apologize. This is out there, and I believe this person to be telling the truth. It also matches up with other evidence that I have that will be coming out soon, and it lines up with things that people have been saying from the very beginning. So there are people out there who believe Isaac Kappy is still alive. This is evidence pointing to that. Okay. That being said, once again, this is not meant for any disrespect to anybody. Okay. That being said, guys, you're going to hear in the beginning of this audio, you're going to hear that it cuts out. The phone goes dead. I ask her first question, and there's nothing. And I left all that in there. I didn't cut this out. You need to know also that this happened. This is not LARPing. It wasn't staged. This happened, at least from my end. I cut out some of the long pauses and shortened them down, but I left them long enough to where it was there was a deadness in any way. The phone died. It didn't die. The phone audio stopped transmitting on my side. The phone call was still going on, but there was nothing coming through. I couldn't hear it. So we had to hang up and call back. I left that in there. That happened at the exact moment I asked the first question. Okay? I think that's very telling that somebody is listening in. I think that's very telling that what we're about to hear is more than likely part of the truth. I want each one of you to download this, mirror it, share it, and get it out there in case YouTube does take this down. I don't know what YouTube takes down and puts up anymore. Who knows? I have no idea. But this is out there. I'm sure people do copy stuff. Good for you. Keep this in your files in case we need to review it later. Someone needs to hear it. Okay, that being said, without further ado, here's the interview. All right, hey everyone, welcome back. This is Corey with the Phoenix Enigma. Today we have an interview with someone I have been looking to talk to for a while. We had a pre-discussion, a pre-interview a few days ago, and we're able to line up again today and get this done. So today we're going to, break some information that is changing, ground shaking. I don't know how to say it other than that in regards to the Isaac Kappy investigation and case. Between my last pre-interview and this interview, I did the best of my ability in terms of vetting and due diligence to verify any information that was said to me, and we're bringing this person back on because this needs to get out there. People, if this is being said and this happened, the world needs to know that this took place, and the world needs to know that this transpired or occurred. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce here my anonymous guest. For obvious reasons, a lot of people I speak to do not want to be named and do not want people coming after them. And I try my best to get people to, give their names, give authenticity to the interviews. But in this gray, dark world where we're navigating right now, that's not always possible. And if you trust me, that's great. If you don't, then you can call this LARPing and you can call it BS. You can call it whatever you want. I personally think there's enough credibility here to run with this and to put it out there. And so, all right, without further ado, here's our guest. How are you today? Can you hear me good?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Okay.
All right. I reached out to you the other day. Somebody told me to contact you. I always like to tell people how I came about finding people, but I was told to contact you and that you had information that I would most definitely want to hear. And absolutely I did. Let me lay down some groundwork first. How did you know Kappy, and when did you first meet Kappy? Did you ever meet in person, or was it always on online or a tweet or a phone conversation? Kind of what, all that right there. What was your relation to him, and I guess how did you first get in touch with him? Hello? Hello? I cannot hear you. You may have hit your mute button. This is weird. Hello? Huh. Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. I'm going to hang up and I'm going to call back here, and holy shit. This is freaky. All right.
Hello?
Hey, what happened?
I don't know.
As soon as I introduced you, the phone went dead. The call was running, but there was no, were you talking?
Yes, I was talking, and I could hear you perfectly clear.
I heard nothing. There was nothing over here. Absolutely zero.
Wow.
That is, all right, well, that's
not surprising.
That's a message. That's a message. Let's get this on tape and get it cut out ASAP then before the utility truck shows up across the street. Okay, let's since I got you here and we are recording, let's do that question again. How did you know Kappy? When did you guys first meet, and what was the nature and extent of your relationship?
I immediately began following Kappy when he did his first Periscope. I'm a victim of domestic violence, and I thought that I could bring perspective to his team. So I reached out and emailed him, told him of my legal experience and my legal background, and he had someone contact me, and then we began working with a team to work on some legal issues and hopefully to start a nonprofit to assist victims of any sort of abuse, whether it was satanic ritual abuse or physical abuse. We were not going to be selective with what type of abuse.
Okay. Was the nature of your guys' organization just to get them to safety, or was it rehabilitation, or was it relocation, or Had you gotten that far?
Anything. If they needed a phone, we would provide them with a phone. If they needed transportation, hotel money, anything, whatever we could do, that's what we were going to do.
Okay. All right. And so you'd reached out to Kappy?
I did.
Okay. And was he working with you to get your organization going?
He was not involved in the administration of the nonprofit, but he was going to promote it to his viewers, so that if they wanted to donate funds, that they knew that the funds were going directly to victim assistance.
Okay. All right. But for how long did you guys work on that together? Or
we're still working on it. It's not a dead project because Kappy's not here.
Okay.
And I would also like to say that to his family, my sincerest condolences that he is absent from their life.
That's a very good way to put it, considering what we're about to get into. Okay.
Correct.
Here's what we're breaking today, guys. And like I said, you can take it for what it's worth, and you can take it and make your own decision on this. This, in conjunction with what I'm learning recently, has taken my opinion about this whole investigation and matter to a different level and a different direction as well. But tell me what happened in the line of events on from that last Periscope to when you called Kappy and talked to him last.
Okay, so I watched the last video, and Kappy had several emotional breakdowns throughout the Periscope time period. And whenever he would have those breakdowns, I would always call him and remind him that he was kind of the Pied Piper of this movement, and that I was just trying to support him and tell him that, what he's doing is really going to help people, because it's going to help us help him to help victims.
Okay. And you saw that last Periscope?
Yes, I did.
Did you see his last Instagram on Sunday afternoon about 7 o'clock? Did you watch that one?
I did not see the Instagram. Okay. It's very unfortunate, because I think that what I've heard about that Instagram ties into part of my story regarding Isaac, and that was the situation with Mikey.
All right, and we're going to get to the situation with Mikey in a minute. We're going to dissect this issue by issue, topic by topic. All right, tell me about the last time you talked to Kappy.
So I spoke to Kappy on the 13th at 7 p.m. I was speaking to him. My husband comes home from work. He's always off on Sunday, so I knew that it was a Monday because my husband asked me who I was talking to, and I told him I was talking to Isaac. And it was 7 p.m. on the day that he allegedly died at 7:20 a.m.
Yeah. Who initiated that phone call? Who called who?
I reached out to Isaac because I was concerned about his mental state based on his scope, and I was just very concerned about what he felt like, whom he betrayed. He was just in a very bad headspace, and I just wanted to reach out to him and, tell him that we support him, that we're there.
Yeah. And for everyone, I can hear everyone right now out there. Everyone asking me to ask you right now, how come you didn't ask him what he did or why he died, and isn't he supposed to be dead already? And how is it you're talking to him, have a normal conversation with him after those events? To which Which what would you say to that?
It is my theory, based on my experience with having clients go into witness protection. It is my theory and belief that Isaac is in witness protection.
Okay. What I want to clarify is, at the time this phone call took place, when you called him, did you know that he had passed away? Because I didn't until the following day, at Tuesday. Did you have any?
No, I did not know. No, I was called the following day and told that Isaac had passed, and I was like, that's impossible, because I was just talking to him. And in fact, I was so concerned that I reached out to, first I started with Maricopa County, because I knew that that's the largest county in Arizona, and I just worked my way from county to county until I got to Coconino County. And at that time, I contacted the medical examiner, and she also gave me the phone number to the detective that was working the case.
The detective at the case for the Department of Public Safety or the sheriff's office?
The sheriff's office.
Okay.
In Coconino County. I contacted both of them because my concern was, how could he be dead if he was alive and talking to me at 7 o'clock, which I had proof of, but now all that proof has suddenly disappeared.
Okay. So just to recap here,
And the only way that could happen would be a 3-letter governmental agency that could make that happen that quickly.
Yeah. So just to recap here, before we move forward on that, you saw his Periscope on the Friday. You reached out to him on Monday evening to lift him back up like you had done numerous times before. You spoke to him at 7 o'clock p.m. You know that because your husband, was coming home from work and asked you to talk to him, and you said Isaac, and you had no idea that he had allegedly, supposedly died, because none of us knew, nobody knew until the TMZ article came out the next day on Tuesday morning. I found out about probably 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, somewhere in there, 9:30, 10.
It was in the afternoon,
yeah.
but I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned because it was absolutely impossible, and I have provided you with evidence regarding
Yes.
What I'm saying.
Yes.
And the fact that all of those calls that I made subsequent to Isaac finding out that he allegedly attempted suicide, all those calls are also not on my phone or on my statement.
So all the phone calls you made to the Coconino County, Maricopa County, anything dealing with the situation have been wiped off your phone, the device itself, as well as your records?
My billing statement, yes, correct.
Okay. Now, I do have dated screenshots showing me that you were discussing this with other people at that time. So, yeah. So,
and my shock of how it could be that he could be gone when I was talking to him. It was impossible.
What was that? First of all, how long did the conversation go on for?
About 40 minutes.
And what was the nature of that conversation?
I was, just like I said, I was very concerned about his well-being. I was it's just the video, the scope, he looked completely traumatized, and the fact that he was talking about his betrayal and that people were going to be hurt and shocked, and I think that he was announcing that basically he would be leaving and not to be heard from again by anybody. That would be family too. And the fact that the person that allegedly jumped from the bridge was a homeless man. We know that Isaac wasn't homeless. We know that he had a home, on Tuesday, and there would be no reason for him to be parked outside or, living behind a truck station in the middle of Arizona. It's impossible.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of that whole homeless thing yet. I have six bits of information, three testimonies, verbal, and I think one written and two in screenshots that state that there was a homeless person there that looked identical to Kappy. I got times when that guy was there, times when he left, all of it. I don't know what to make of that whole deal yet. I'm still trying to piece that together. It is an important piece. I know it is. I feel it in my gut. I just don't know how it fits in yet. It fits in as best I can figure it as an operation, as a decoy, or as
it would be something of that nature. It would take a serious movement to remove Isaac from his viewers and to protect him if he has information that could lead to the arrest of any of these high-profile individuals that he named.
Yeah. All right, let's back up for 1 second before we get into all that. You called the sheriff of Coconino County, and did you speak to him, or did you leave a message?
I left a voicemail. I told him my concern that it was impossible that Isaac could be gone. Because I was speaking to him, I had evidence that I spoke to him, and then that's when I went back to try to get that evidence, it was gone.
Okay. Did he call you back?
He never contacted me.
What?
And I think that I would be a pretty good person to testify to the fact that Isaac Kappy is alive when I know that I spoke with him at 7 p.m. on the day that he died.
Yeah, now,
allegedly.
I'm not an official private investigator, and I am not in law enforcement, and I have never been to criminal justice school. But if my gut tells me if someone calls up and said, "Hey, your body there can't be that body because I spoke to him 12 hours after his supposed suicide," you would think you'd want to follow up on that and at least verify that person is insane.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they never called you back.
And I was willing to put my credibility on the line. Willing to put my 10 years of criminal defense experience on the line.
So
I had evidence to prove that he was alive when he was supposed to be gone.
So you are a criminal defense professional?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. And that would explain why you're getting into an organization to help victims as well. That kind of fits in right there.
Yeah.
So he never called you back. As a side note, I reached out last week to the detective at the DPS, the lead investigator. I reached out to the sheriff, Coconino County, of the investigator, and neither of them have called me back either. I did receive a phone call from the investigator of the coroner's office, and her and I spoke for a little bit. She would not give me any information at all, but I'm going to make a separate video on that conversation, what happened there. It's going to fit in very nice with what you're telling me right now, because shit ain't adding up. It's just not adding up from what's going on up there right now. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised that I have not been approached and I have not been told, at the very least, to shut up. Maybe that phone going dead when it did here earlier, maybe that was the first step. I don't know. But it makes me nervous when shit like that happens. It makes me nervous when my camera turns on, when I'm sitting in front of my computer. This has been going on since this happened, but no one has reached out at all. I called the FBI. They never called back. I find this very strange that it's just ending. They're just trying to get it to go away, and that would fit in with...
It's an abrupt ending to what was a great momentum that was, when Isaac left for Australia, I think that kind of hurt a lot of people, and his viewership was not as high post his return, but there was definitely still people that were following what he was doing.
Yeah.
And we were still continuing on our path of what we were doing, although it definitely kind of put the brakes on what we were doing, because we were just sort of like, wow, well, that was just abrupt. It was just not, especially with Isaac saying in his video he was not suicidal. That is not typical of what somebody who is suicidal would say. It's not, it's not, people usually give things away. There's a pattern of suicidality that things that people do, and Isaac didn't do that. He just left. He just vanished into thin air.
Yeah, I also
and
have...
like I said, I mean no disrespect to his family at all. This is one person's perspective that works in the legal field, that has had people turn state's evidence, and we have had to put clients in witness protection. And when somebody is in witness protection, it is sealed, it is locked, it is shut down, because their testimony is so powerful.
Yeah. Now, Kappy did, everyone, remember we signed that letter 4th of July? What happened on the 4th of July? Or the 3rd of July, technically? All the Epstein
the 3rd
files.
Of July.
Well, I mean, all those
Right.
Epstein files
Isaac,
were... Go ahead.
And Isaac kept talking about Epstein and the 4th of July, and that there would be breaking, and it would involve Donald Trump. He apologized to the president, and it's ironic that these Epstein files have been released, and the subsequent people involved do show that Donald Trump was a visitor of Epstein Island.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if he was there just to observe what was going on, or if he was a participant. I'm not going to speculate on that, but it's interesting.
I've, in my personal political worldview, I think Donald Trump has been a godsend and has saved this nation and pulled it back from certain destruction with the alternative. That being said, I don't think Trump is lily white either. You don't get to where you're at by not knowing where the bodies are buried.
No. There's certainly, and he's even said that he knows the laws because he knows how to break them. Basically, when it comes to taxes and things like that, he knows the system. He knows all these people and how they work. So it's not surprising that he would want to get eyewitness experience as to what was really going on.
Do you think they pulled Kappy out because he had other evidence? I mean, just knowing that these files would be released on the 3rd is not enough to warrant pulling him out of there. Something else had to have happened. He had to have known something else, or maybe he's going to testify, or so. I don't know. There's something else going on. But you can testify in a sealed, they call it a sealed grand jury, right, where it doesn't go to the public. And there are court cases that transpire and take place that are not in the public purview at all.
Right. The cases for a grand jury is whether or not an indictment should follow. And so basically they hear the case. There's no probable cause. There's no necessarily, it's just based on the evidence, can they move forward with a case? And so that's the purpose of a grand jury, and that's why they keep that testimony sealed because of the potential leak of witnesses.
And defamation to people who are maybe innocent while they're trying to discover it, and you can utilize.
Correct.
Yeah, you can destroy someone's entire career and life and family by airing stuff out that's not necessarily true and destroy them, and then the aftermath they never recover either. So that's also protection for innocent people during this disclosure process.
Exactly.
So it is shaping up. He did apologize to Donald Trump, and I'm not scripting a narrative here, but this is my opinion, and it's liable to change at the next phone call that I receive. But
exactly,
it's
and it may sway my opinion, but this is just what happened to me. That's all I can testify to is my experience with what has happened, based on evidence that I've seen and what has happened.
Yeah.
The only entity that could create something like this and remove him, pluck him out of society, would be a 3-letter agency.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge. Do you think, looking back at that last Periscope, do you think that we can all look at that? Because I watched it. After you and I had that conversation, I watched that thing again from beginning to end. And I watched it with the mindset that he knew he was going into witness protection. That's what I did. And everything he said still lined up, if not better. I'm not suicidal. I'm going away. I might come back someday. I don't know. I apologize. I betrayed someone. They're going to write books about this decision, how stupid it was, on and on and on. And there's another piece of this that's not unfolded yet. There's something else that hasn't come out in this aftermath that's going to in this next couple of weeks, I'm thinking, in the aftermath of these released Epstein documents. But you can look at the whole entire Periscope. Go ahead.
Oh, with those eyes, with that that view, if you look at that, he's apologizing to his family. He's apologizing to his viewers that he was basically going away. And I don't think he's in jail. I don't think he's in prison. I think he's in protection.
Yeah. Wow. All right. I want to finish hammering out this. What was the conversation about? You had 40 minutes of discussion. What did you guys talk about for 40 minutes?
We talked about many things. His state of mind, how he was. We talked about the Mikey situation. We spoke, at length about what we were doing in terms of the nonprofit and where we were at with it, and that we just wanted to sit down with him and talk to him, get his perspective, and when could we do that so we could go forward.
Did he? Well, that's interesting. If you guys were discussing when you could move forward, was he discussing plans or dates or times with you?
We didn't. He said he would get back to me, and that was that. I mean, it was just, I was just trying to really just kind of, like I said, just rah him back to center, to bring him back to what the focus was of what we were doing, and that was the protection and the help of victims.
Okay. When you guys discussed Mikey, vegan Mikey, what did you guys talk about in regards to that? Because I find it strange. I find it interesting that no matter where I go in this Kappy thing, Mikey's name keeps popping up.
Well, Mikey reached out to Kappy, claiming, asserting, alleging that he was a victim of gang stalking, and he was an eyewitness to SRA, and that he was connected to the donuts. And so Isaac reached out to Mikey, and we kind of from our end, we were looking at Mikey as a potential first client that, we could help out. One of the people in our group who will be anonymous, actually everybody in the group that I was in will remain anonymous. She explained to me that she and another gentleman gave Mikey a sum of $20,000, around $20,000. I don't know if that's over or under, but around $20,000. And when I said that to Isaac, he was crushed. And he asked me when this happened. And I explained to him how and when it happened.
When did it happen?
And that, pardon?
When did it happen?
We were talking to Mikey around November. And that's November of 2018.
Okay.
And that's when vegan Mikey was having another crisis, and the crisis was that he and his son were going to be homeless, and they were getting kicked out of their apartment, that he needed money. And so I said, well, we're not in a position, to do that right now, but, we could definitely get him a motel room for the night or something along those lines. But, we weren't set up yet for something that large. But one of the people in our group reached out to another person, and they were able to come up with that large sum of money. And that's when Isaac explained to me that he had just recently given Mikey $4,500, and Isaac was crushed. He was absolutely crushed. So this whole brother thing that he has with Mikey, that did not exist. That was not the case at the end at all. He realized exactly what Mikey was doing.
How much money did Mikey get out of you?
I think I gave him maybe $50 to $100. That was, for some reason, I kept having problems with the application and getting money to him, and he walked me through step by step what I needed to do, how to get him the money, and he knew exactly what app to use, how to do it, everything, which I found bizarre because he must have gotten money like this somewhere else. And then I later found out that that he had received the $20,000. I did not know about that until after the fact.
Wow. So Mikey was asking for money, and you said, how do I do it? And he basically walked you through a number of apps that you could use to facilitate getting money to him.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got $20,000.
And then I didn't hear from Mikey until January. So in November, I called him out. I just told him, you know what? I don't like the feel of this. This feels fraudulent to me. I feel like I've been used. I feel like I've been lied to. I feel like I've been manipulated. And I had no further contact with Mikey. And then he reached out to me in January of 2019 with a text message, hey. And I just said, who's this? I didn't want to, and I provided you with all that information.
Yeah. Yeah. There was also something I heard that somebody was going to give Mikey $60,000 or a house in the form of a house or something to that extent, and it fell through. Do you know anything about that?
There was a gentleman who was allegedly on his deathbed who said that he was going to leave Mikey everything, that he felt sorry for him, and legally, the man was heavily sedated on medication, so anything that he would say wouldn't fit for a legal will or a last dying testament request. So I knew that it wasn't legal as soon as, because the man was clearly under the influence of some heavy sedation. But yes, there was a person that did back out. And I don't think he backed out. I just don't think it was a legal binding. I think maybe he meant well, but it wasn't a legal way to do what he did, what he was trying to do. If he did pass, I don't know.
Do you know if the family? Oh, well, maybe the family got in there and stood between, blocked it. That's interesting. So we got Mikey getting $20,000 out of two people in your group. We got you guys trying to decide whether or not he's going to be your first survivor victim that you're going to help. You have,
and even Nathan himself was giving Mikey money, putting him up in $160 a night room, and he wanted a better room down the street. If you're looking for handouts and you're in that desperate of a situation, Motel 6 would be great.
Sure.
If you're truly looking for a roof over your head and to get out of the weather, you don't demand from people who are donating money to you where you're going to stay and in what kind of accommodations you're going to be kept in. We weren't, people weren't trying to support his lifestyle. They were just trying to help him. And everybody has just come to realize that whole Mikey situation is just a scam.
Yeah, I'm going to, for the sake of journalistic integrity, I'm going to try to remain as unbiased as possible. I have a lot of personal feelings towards Mikey at this point from what I've discovered this last week when I went out and actively pulled and called everyone I possibly could and dove into it as hard as I dove into Kappy. The picture is clear for me what Michael Whalen is and who Michael Whalen is, and the patterns that I have seen firsthand in his dealings with me, all the way back to what you're talking about when he first came on the scene. I'm not going to go into everything during this. This is your testimony here we're talking about today, but I have seen the same patterns over and over again firsthand in my personal dealings with him. And then my heart's crushed when I hear about people giving him $10,000 and preying on someone who is on his deathbed for 60. And then you got Boss, I believe, Jason Boss, who put him up at the tune of $20,000. And of course, when he kicked out Mikey, it was Jason's fault, right? Because and I can tell you firsthand what Mikey told me. He said, Corey, he told me that he was going to help me, and you don't offer to help somebody and then kick him out because you know what? And he just went on, poor me. He was there for 6 months, I thought, and never got his shit together and trashed the house. I've talked to people who were Mikey was asking him to pay the electric bills while he was there, $150 a month, and Jason goes on the air and says, here's $500 electric bill that I'm stuck with that Mikey never paid. And then I got to talk to the person who called back Mikey and said, WTF, that was for the phone bill. Why didn't you pay it? And it was just another story. It was more bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mikey seems to have crisis after crisis, and anybody who is attempting to monetize or make money off of Isaac's going away is in the wrong. We were not, every person that was working in the nonprofit group was donating their time, talent, and treasure to make that happen. We were not looking to take any draw from the nonprofit. None of us we were all donating our time. So all of the work that went into that.
Yeah. And speaking of cost here, one of the people in the group, just so when Michael Whalen listens to this, he can know that one person in the group who gave him $10,000 went through some marital trouble afterwards?
I don't think it was $10,000, and I'm not sure, but I think that her husband just was tired of the amount of time that she was investing and the amount of funds that she was investing, and she pulled back.
Okay. So is their marriage okay? Are they good?
Oh, I think they're good.
Okay,
I think they're fine. I
good.
just think that it was, I think her decision. I think emotionally, it was just getting to be too much, and it was just she worked her tail off. I mean, she worked her tail off. She was more than professional, and very, very helpful and very kind and generous. And he just used and abused her and just tossed her away. And it's just very not impressive on my end.
Yeah, well, there are also several people in the family who have spoken to this week who no one really knew, but Mikey was hitting him up individually, independently on the backside, and he's hitting up a single mother who is living with family right now, whose husband died last year, and Michael's asking for and accepting money from this now widow. And I don't want to out anyone's situation and use it, but I need everyone to understand, because I just learned this week, and this has made me very angry, because the family and people like yourself who get involved in this work we do, we believe the best in people, and it's generally people who don't have a lot, who've been through trouble themselves, who trust and love and want to do their best to help. And Michael Whalen has come in, and he sees that, and he does not care, and he preys on that without consciousness at all, and he just doesn't stop, and he doubles down, and just when you think, well, he couldn't possibly, no one could possibly be this much of a con man or this evil, yet it happens again and again and again.
Well, I showed you the text that he sent me where he was apologizing and telling me that I lost sight of the goal, and but yet, he was still trying to manipulate and get in my good graces. And I just told him, "You fool! You're blinded by your victimhood. You can't see the forest through the trees." And at that point, I was just done.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are done today with Michael Whalen. I think, and I hope everyone knows what he is, and I hope the next person who he comes and tells his story to, I hope this video will get to them, and I hope that everyone else will understand out there as well that this is a person who has taken advantage of situations and people's love and just without care. I went through all the chat rooms that I'm in yesterday, and I asked everyone. I said, "I guess a little group deal. Can somebody please find me a message from Mikey where he comes in and says, 'Hey, good morning, everyone. I had a good day,' or 'Hey, thank you,' or 'Hey, looking forward to maybe helping out the group.'" There was nothing.
No.
Literally every...
No, he provided nothing. It was take, give, and no reciprocity at all.
There was nothing. In the year he's been in there is
just
nothing.
Just more. He would come back for more.
And then he would make you feel guilty, and he always came back with a medical problem or a crisis, and it was always, I'm being gang stalked and poor me, and now I have a chest cold and I got beat up and I've got to go to the hospital. I have a surgery and I have back surgery. It doesn't end. It doesn't end.
No.
And he still hasn't found a job. Well, I guess I know what his job is. He's, he stays pretty busy all day long doing this. I don't know how he could have time to get a job. But yeah. And if it sounds like I'm angry out there.
Some people make a living. Conning others.
Yeah.
And there are, like you said, very trusting individuals that want to truly help somebody in need. But this is somebody who I don't think is in need. This is somebody who I believe is criminal with intent to defraud people. And I think those people that have been defrauded by him might want to take it up with their local police department and file a police report.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah. I think I got a number yesterday. Someone put together all the money that they had collected at Mikey. They figured out Mikey had gotten, and it came out to about $60,000 last year he made from what everyone's, from all the accounts that I've received.
And that's tax-free.
It's tax-free. And that's not including what we don't know, the personal gifted money. Hey, if you're out there and you sent Mikey some money on Zelle or Cash App or something, give me a text. Give me a text or an email. Let me know.
Venmo too. That's another one.
Yeah, I'm really curious if you've been giving Mikey money out there and this is pissing you off, shoot me an email. I'll give you a call. So yeah. So okay. So you and Isaac talked about Mikey for a while.
He was devastated. He was crushed by that news.
Now, I want to put something into perspective here. Well, I have questions, and I'm gonna question you a little bit as an investigator would. In hindsight, what do you how do I put this? If Isaac went into witness protection, how is it he answered his phone? The first thing they do when they go into witness protection, they take away your phone and you're gone. You're a ghost. How is it you think that he was able to answer his phone that night, 12 hours after he supposedly died?
That I don't have an answer for.
Another question, and I think I may have the answer to this, but I was brainstorming. They supposedly gave his phone and his belt and his wallet, I believe, to his mother. And I was talking about this to someone the other day, and between our interviews here, and they said, "Well, how could Kappy answer the phone if his mother has his phone?" And I thought about that.
Well,
I'm like,
they can transfer the phone number.
Exactly.
To phone.
Exactly. And they said, "Well," I said, "How does Kappy's mother know what Kappy's phone looked like? They just give him a phone and a locked iPhone and say, here you go. This is Kappy's phone." And and you transfer the number over. When you're in witness protection, do they allow you telephones? Do they allow you communications? Obviously, social media is out, and you go into a deep state, and they change your physical appearance and whatnot. But anyway. That's the question that people would be asking me to ask you right now. How do you think, why do you... And not only that, to fake your death and then answer the phone 12 hours later and have a conversation about Mikey, one would think that you would be talking about something else, or there'd be other scenarios in your head or conversations that would take place.
Well, when I left the conversation, I did not believe that he was suicidal.
Okay. Did he mention suicide at all that night when you were talking that last time?
No, he just told me, he assured me that he was not suicidal.
Okay. Interesting. What an interesting thing to have happened. I mean, it's...
Well, and if he truly is in witness protection, and like I say, this is a theory. This is just perspective. I can't say that this is 100%, but he would just go away, and even his family wouldn't know. So it's, I don't want to give false hope to anyone, but it is quite possible.
Yeah.
And probable.
And probable. Yeah. Wow. At the end of the conversation, did he say he'll talk to you again? Thanks for calling. Did he say where he was? Did he give any indication? Here's a question. Are you sure you were talking to Kappy? They have voice modulators.
I'm absolutely positive it was him. Okay. Absolutely 100% positive it was him.
Okay. All right. I know
he wouldn't. They wouldn't know the things to do, like a voice modulation. They wouldn't be able to answer the questions or respond to me the way that Isaac was talking to me, and they wouldn't know about the nonprofit. They wouldn't know about anything.
Was Kappy using the vernacular and like he usually did?
It was his same vernacular speech pattern, other than he was very emotional. It was Isaac, 100%. Okay. It was Isaac.
I have testimony from people saying that Isaac was an absolute mess on Saturday. You may have heard that interview I did with that other gal, and that Isaac was paranoid. He was told her he was experiencing voice to skull. The music that they both experienced, the song from Phil Collins, and I Hear It in the Air Tonight. I have witnessed testimony from another truck stop, not in Belmont, down the road, where Isaac came in looking very nervous, where he purchased cigarettes and a lighter. We have the testimony from the Belmont Days Inn night manager that Ghost Crab picked up when he called in there. Good job, Ghost Crab. Well done, sir. We got that evidence because of him, and saying that, oh yeah, he was completely out of it and his head was twerking and twitching, and he was nervous, and I'd seen people on drugs before, and he thought it was drugs. Everyone knows Isaac didn't do drugs. But when you spoke to him, so my point is, we have a lot of people saying that he was nervous and twitchy and probably sleep deprived, going a lot of the last week.
Well, if you knew that you were, okay, well, we can do Voice to Skull. We can talk about that. If, let's say, one of those three-letter agencies was putting pressure on him to testify, and he was, let's say, not compliant, they would put pressure on him. There would be things that they would do to do that. You don't think that the CIA or the FBI can tap your phone and make music play out of it? They can listen to conversations through your phone, through your smart TV.
Sure.
They can make things happen that make you think that you're crazy. So it's very possible that he was sleep deprived and pushed and pressured into this decision. And that's when I see the video, the last go that he did, I see somebody that is tormented, somebody that is stressed, somebody knows that he has to make a decision, and he knows it's going to hurt a lot of people. And, him just disappearing like that, and then all the post effects to my phone, and my phone is the same phone that I use for work. It's just bizarre. It's very, very strange. The only entities that have that kind of power, and with the expediency that it was all done, would be those three-letter governmental agencies.
Yeah, and I'm going to make a video probably today about that expediency, and another piece of information I have that I told I'd bring out yesterday, but I didn't. I got busy, but that'll come out as well. When you talked to him at 7 p.m. on May 13th, 12 hours after his alleged death, did he sound like he was in that state of nervousness that everyone describes? The twitching, the nervousness, the high anxiety.
He just seemed more broken. It was more. I think it was more sorrow. It was just. I think it made him sad knowing that he would just be leaving so abruptly. I don't think Isaac. I think Isaac enjoyed I think he enjoyed doing what he was doing. I think he enjoyed the fam lam. I think that was his backbone.
It was.
And it was a way to keep himself alive, making these allegations and making videos every day or every other day or whenever he made them. I found it very interesting that his roommate said that he never left the house, and there's a video of him out at a restaurant having lunch. It's just very odd thing.
There's a lot of questions about the roommates. There still is. I know the last I talked, Kappy's mother got an attorney, and they're filing a lawsuit to get back Isaac's possessions that they will not release to them at this point. So that's currently going on, I understand.
That is just ridiculous.
Yeah, and if I'm wrong, someone can correct me, but that's, as of yesterday, that's what I've been told. So, yeah, it's all very strange. But we do have some hope that Isaac's alive, it looks like. We do have that. And, with this testimony, it puts into perspective another way to look at this entire thing. When you told me this a couple days ago, the scenarios I was going through in my head were the black hats were the ones hitting him with the V2K. And he got picked up. He might have reached out and been picked up by the white hats and gotten to witness protection. It never occurred to me that the CIA or whoever it was would be actively harassing him in order to get him to come in, to press him, to twist him, and say, if you testify, if you come in, it'll stop.
To wipe my record to prove that I can't prove that I had this conversation with him is insane.
I think it's very telling that the Coconino County Sheriff did not call you back when you told him that you spoke to the man who supposedly died 12 hours after he died. It shocks me that he did not call you back.
Why would they not want to take my statement? Why would they not want to listen to what I had to say? Especially when they said that the body was almost unidentifiable.
Well, and the mother did not identify the body, and they cremated it. The body on, at the from what how was it phrased to me? The mortuary house recommended that she did not view the body. They did not tell her it was unrecognizable. They recommended that she didn't. That's how it was phrased, I understand. And they said, okay, fine, and they just cremated the body. Now, we've had this conversation with other people before, and I don't care who you are. Somebody, a brother comes in, a cousin comes in, someone comes in and looks at that body. That's just what happens. And I've heard different mothers.
Somebody has to identify the body.
Yeah, did they pull dental records? On I don't know.
Right.
I'm making another video about my conversation with the sheriff's office. I might do that after we're done here and get that out, because I am, at what I was told, I find it very strange what I learned 2 days ago, and the fact that three days ago, that no one's called me back either. I did talk to an investigator at the coroner's office in Coconino County. Do you know that they have their own in-house investigators?
No, I did not know that.
I did not either. I knew that they had doctors, and I knew that they had a power to override doctors in determining cause of death, even if they don't have a medical degree themselves. And there are different laws in different states for the qualifications for a coroner. The coroner has almost as much power as the sheriff in terms of legal ability to change documents and write and script narratives. If you're going to pull anything off, and I said this in when I was investigating the terrorists in New Mexico with the 5 Siraj Wahaj and his sister and the 11 kids. You had to have the coroners and the sheriff on. I said this when I was talking about the Florida shooting. I said this when I was talking about the Vegas shooting. The coroner has to be in on it. You need to be able to change and script the cause of death.
The medical examiner's report.
Yes.
Exactly. I mean, they can state anything.
Scalia comes to mind,
they can
right?
Say something suspicious. They can say something look like suicide. They can say, but I just don't. Isaac loved himself. I mean, he loved his life. I just don't. I mean, he was definitely carrying the weight of the victims on his shoulders for sure. But I don't. He was just. I don't know. I've gone circles in my head over this. I've gone round and round and round, ruminating on this and trying to figure it out. And this is just a theory, but this is the one theory that makes sense to me.
Okay. Well, I think it's important that this get out here today. I do. I think all of it's important, from the conversation you had to his views on Mikey, to his, all of it. It's part of the puzzle. And if you say that Kappy called you, and you don't sound crazy to me, you don't sound delusional, you don't sound like you're trying to profit from this, you haven't asked me for anything, you want to remain anonymous. I guess the only other option there could be is that you're a secret agent and you have some clandestine agenda to script narrative in the public deal. But barring that,
no, I have no intention of doing that.
This just seems to me, like most people I've spoken to be honest testimony. You can usually smell bullshit when you hear it, and this does not rise to that for me at this point. It just does not. I've checked you out. I know who you are and where you are and all that stuff. I've verified people who know you. You're a real person with a real job and a real past and history, and you did not come out of nowhere. So for my listeners, you can know that I have vetted that. So there's the testimony, guys. Isaac Kappy answered the phone at 7 o'clock on May 13th, 12 hours after he supposedly died. There you go. That's what we got today. That's what we got. So, is there anything else you want to add to this?
No. Again, like I said, my sincerest condolences to his family. Their loss must be devastating.
Yeah, the emotional hoops and flips and turmoil alone.
Oh, it's been. I have racked my brain, and I can imagine that they must be racking their brain. And suicide it's such a selfish act, and Isaac was selfless. He was not selfish at all.
I'll tell you what everyone keeps telling me. Isaac would not have put someone else in danger and jumped into a highway. He would not have spent his last moment terrorizing someone else.
And the interesting thing is that you said that you were driving down that highway at 9-something in the morning.
25.
And there was no investigation going on.
Yeah,
they would have had that taped off, roped off. Hazmat would come, be wiping down blood. I mean, they've got to take measurements. They've got to do all kinds of things. And anytime there's a fatality on the road, your traffic is backed up for miles. It's a huge undertaking. Yeah. And it's not like they just come and scoop up a body and then put it in the morgue van and go away. It's not like that. It's those investigations take a long time.
And I'll also state that because this happened at an overpass, they had a relief valve for traffic, if you will. They'd run it right up the overramp or right up the overpass and back down the other side, which means that there was no hurry to clean the body up. There was no hurry to get off the highway. They could take as long as they needed to measure and witness and get testimony and take all their investigative, because they had a traffic right there. It was built into the scene. So I came by at 9:25, which is approximately 2 hours after the incident happened, and there was nothing. I didn't see anybody down there. I have listened to testimony from the tow truck driver who came and picked up the car at 8:30 a.m., literally an hour and 8 minutes after the incident happened. And he said that there was one sheriff's officer up at the Days Inn pilot area who walked the keys over to him and gave him the keys so that he could tow it. There was nothing else there. He said it was all cleaned up. I had an interview. I have testimony from someone who I'm going to put in this next video I'm going to do, who says that he came by at 7:40 in the morning, 7:40, 18 minutes after the incident happened, and they were already moving traffic up and over the overpass, and the ambulance had come and gone because there was no body there. And it was just a DPS officer investigating or taking a report and interviewing someone down below, and there was still a whole bunch of people up on top of the overpass and one cop car up there, one DPS car up there. 18 minutes after the incident occurred, the ambulance had come and gone.
No, that doesn't make any sense at all.
So I heard
because
that a week.
Bodies are always taken by medical examiners. They wouldn't be taken by an ambulance.
Well, there you go.
And I was a combat medic for 10 years prior to working in law, and I was a paramedic for 2 years in the civilian world. And I'm here to tell you that a body must be picked up by a medical examiner, not an ambulance.
When a death occurs?
No. When a death occurs.
So if they did call an ambulance...
Anywhere.
So
if the death occurs in a home, on the street, on a bicycle, anything.
You know, that's
the medical
interesting.
Examiner always takes the body.
All right, so answer something procedurally for me. If they did issue an ambulance, which they're going to call an ambulance like automatically. They're going to.
Right.
And I think we even heard on the EMS that the ambulance was en route. They then would have to turn around when they got there, declare him dead, and then say, "All right, bring out the medical examiner's vehicle." There has to be records on that, huh?
There would have to be.
Now, funny thing
there
is,
would have to be a patient assessment. You know, there would have to be some kind of report.
Well, hold on, but
DOA.
But the Camp Navajo military base fire department, with an EMS on board, no doubt, was the first to arrive on scene. And you know as well as I do that civilians are not going to get military records pertaining to this. How convenient is that? How convenient is it that the Camp Navajo military base was the first on scene to assess the body?
And if he was being whisked away, what a perfect place to do it, right in front of a military base.
Literally 200 yards.
Who would have access to that?
200 yards from the front gate to the military base is where this happened. 200 yards. Right there.
Yeah.
If it's 200 yards.
Interesting. And that's, like I say, it just further supports a theory that he very well may be in witness protection.
Yeah. I'm starting to believe that he very may well be as too. I don't know how everything else fits into it, but with the information that's come out this week that I've got, this is what it's looking like to me. It really is. So, but like I said, I may get a phone call.
Nonetheless, I'm very sad that he's gone, and I miss him. I really, really do. I really miss him.
Yeah, everyone misses him. And, I think in terms of loss, the loss people feel, if you're a mother and you're never going to see your son again, regardless of what happens, whether he's passed away, or you just know that'll be the last time, that loss is still a loss.
It's still the same.
Yeah.
You're still going to grieve.
Yeah. Yeah. I have not yet spoken to Kappy's mother. I want to. I've been blocked from reaching her. Incidentally, and I'm just going to put this out there, Mikey has talked his way into Kappy's parents. How do I say this? Into their path, and Mikey is the go-between as of last week between Kappy's mother and answering questions. When I put a feeler out a couple weeks ago, I said, hey, within the family, I said I would really like to talk to Kappy's mother about all this, and some ideas, been some procedural stuff, and he said, and it came back, and Mikey said, yeah, well, I'm talking to her, and I said, okay. And I said, well, tell her to call me. Give her my number. He came back a day later and he told me, he said, yeah, Corey, so Wendy doesn't want to speak to you directly, but she told me that if you have any questions, to give me the questions, and I'll ask her, and then I'll come back with those answers for you. And I thought...
Did he ask you for money?
No. He did roundabout. During that time, he came out, I think, the next day and said he had to go to the hospital and needed some Uber money. And I said, oh, well, I hope you find it, man. I said, I think I told him that Lyft is cheaper or something like that. And, I knew what he was doing. And anyway, I didn't believe it.
Well,
I
like
thought...
Isaac would always say, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, I did. So let me finish this. I didn't believe that he was talking to Kappy's mother, so I had somebody else who was in texting contact with her, and I said, can you verify this for me? Can you verify that, because it's really strange that she won't speak to me. She's aware of the work I'm doing, she's aware of the information I've found, and yet she does not want to speak to me. This is okay, not everyone likes me, I get it. Maybe she thinks it's a lie. Maybe she's been warned again. Maybe the police have said, whatever you do, don't talk to him. I don't know why she won't speak to me. But I had someone else reach out, and sure enough, Wendy told them, go ahead and have Corey give his questions to Mikey, and we'll get the answers. Now, for whatever reason, Mikey has successfully positioned himself between Wendy and anyone else in the family, or who knows where. In terms of the information, it has to pass through Mikey to get there first. And I find that to be extremely manipulative and extremely, oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? Just clever. Conniving. Once again, Michael Whalen has positioned himself right in the middle to remain relevant and extract the most resources from a situation that he possibly can. And he is good. And I don't know if Mrs. Kappy knows everything about Michael Whalen. I don't know if she knows everything that's been said and transpired. I don't know if she knows your testimony and Jason Voss's and Brett's and Shark Belly and everyone else who has said that he has scammed him out of money. I don't know if they know Kappy's, Isaac's beliefs and testimony as it pertains to Vegan Mikey. But I'll tell you what, these last 4 days digging in to this man known as Michael Whalen has really opened my eyes. It is really, and it hurts me because I liked him. I genuinely liked him. I just liked him in general. And I was, I thought, I kept giving myself, maybe he's just never had a dad. Maybe he just has a horrible work ethic. Maybe he's a millennial and doesn't know how to put his nose to the grindstone and get it done. Maybe he's just sloppy, or whatever. But then I heard about the money, the thousands and thousands and thousands, and I sat down, and the pattern was there. The pattern continues. You told me he had 20 different apps that he was trying to show you how to get money to him over like a professional, like he had it down pat.
Not 20, but yeah.
Maybe it wasn't you. There was someone told me he had 20 apps that he used. So, yeah.
I don't know about that, but
it's
he definitely knew what he was doing.
Yeah. So anyway, Wendy Kappy, if you're out there, know that I've been trying to get in touch with you since the beginning, and if you don't want to speak to me, fine, that's great. But please listen to what everyone has said in regards to Michael, and maybe reevaluate or reassess your level of involvement with him and what you may be willing to give to him and support him. That's all I have to say on that. Everyone can make their own choices, but I think I've done a pretty good job at airing out what I have found out this week on that alone. So, and it breaks my heart to do it. And I don't want to weaponize my platform, and I don't want to go after people. That's not what I'm doing. I've gone after one person who went after me a couple weeks ago. I don't want to make that video again. I didn't like doing that video. This is Michael's a dangerous person, in my opinion, at this point. Michael's dangerous.
I agree.
He's not just someone floating around taking a couple bucks here, conning people out of something. The damage he does on the backside to people and their lives as he grifts from them is significant. So that's all I have to say on that.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Just be wary. Use your intuition, your gut, what your gut tells you, and just believe.
Yeah. So
use an open mind.
Yep. All right, everyone. Well, like I said, as a twist, we didn't see coming when we went into this, but there it is. The Isaac Kappy saga may not be over. He may be out there. He may be working right now, doing his best, providing testimony within a sealed jury or some kind of a federal investigation going on. If he is, we'll never know. But for what it's worth, that is the show today. That is the information we're bringing to you. If you have any questions on this, by all means, you know my email out there, and I interact with people in the comment section. If you have any other questions, if we get enough questions, maybe we'll have you on again to answer any follow-up questions we can do. If you're willing to do
Absolutely.
that, I'm sure we're going to get a ton of questions on this. So you take care of yourself, and if anyone reaches out to you and starts putting the screws to you, I want you to let me know, and we'll let the world know that it's going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I also want
you don't have to worry about that.
I want you to contact a couple people and let them know that this took place, and if anything does happen to you, to have them get a hold of me or the authorities that this conversation took place. We need to have our own dead man switch, so to speak, and let everyone know that we have this in place. I have someone who has all my information backed up. I have someone out there that will, is been authorized to go forward with everything that I have. So.
Well, it's definitely not my first rodeo, so I do have protections in place. Good
to hear. All right. Well, I think that does it for today's show. Thank you. I do appreciate you coming forward and telling us this most important bit of information. So it puts everything into new perspective.
Yeah.
All right. And I'll be around if you ever want to give me a call or a text, have any more information. By all means, don't hesitate to reach out. I will
definitely.
Okay.
I will definitely. And if I come up with anything further, I'll definitely keep you posted.
Cool. All right, everyone. That's today's show there. It's Corey with the Phoenix Enigma. Don't forget to like and subscribe down there so we can keep this information going, and share this, get it out there. Put it on your own platforms, retweet it, and get this information out there before YouTube pulls it down. All right. It's Corey with the Phoenix Enigma, guys. Thank you, and over and out.